Today we are going to be talking about entrepreneurship. I actually started OCO back in 2021. I had started creating content while I was in graduate school, and there was a lot going on between trying to manage my classes, and then I was in graduate school on an assistantship and stuff like that. And so it was just too much for me to manage. But I had always had a goal of wanting to engage in content creation. I really like the methodology behind it. I like being able to just have a creative outlet to help someone else that may be in need. So my goal wasn't necessarily, and still to some degree, isn't necessarily to make money off of it. While I know there is a lot of opportunity in this niche, I wasn't necessarily starting it to become a millionaire or whatever the case may be. I was just trying to be a voice for a young lady that needed help, or just share some of the things that I have overcome. And so I picked OCO back up in 2023. If you go down through my channel, because I'm very transparent with you guys about my journey, you'll see that I have videos posted. They're not as, clean and crisp, and the audio is not as good as where I am today. But the point was that I started, and during that time I was working full time. And the goal was really for me to just play around with YouTubing, figuring out how to, package my message, how to do the lighting and do, the camera settings, and what kind of microphone do you need. And there really wasn't a blueprint. So of course I'm on YouTube, I'm on Google, I'm on TikTok, I'm on every platform possible, trying to learn from other people that have created, community for themselves, or become millionaires or successful off of YouTube. And in the midst of this kind of start and stop process that I had been walking through, there was a lot of personal things that I was dealing with in my family and my personal life, as well as in, schooling and on my job. And so I stopped posting for a while, and here we are today in 2025, and I'm picking, content creation back up again. And so over a span of 4 to 5 years, actually, I had actually started working on OCO in 2020, but I didn't start content creating until 2021, and I didn't put any videos up. I had deleted them all. So what I'm getting at is, it's been a 5-year journey that I have walked through on this content creating / entrepreneurship journey. And here I am today, wanting to really put my best foot forward, using the resources that I have to see what can be. I really value people online that are able to share their testimonies and their stories, and just share things that they're very passionate about when it comes to engaging with people that are like them. There are so many voices online, and I believe that this content creation industry that's growing as we know it has so much opportunity for the next wave of entrepreneurs to create their own legacy, their own life in their own way. Most of y'all fall for it, where it's like, if you do these 3 steps, you'll become monetized in 30 days, or if you do this or you do that, you'll become a millionaire in a year. And for some people that has actually happened, but statistically that is not always feasible for the everyday average Joe Blow. When you're working a 9 to 5, when you have family, when you have different responsibilities, or you are just starting from ground zero and you have nothing at all, you can learn from other people. You take the wisdom and the things that they've done, but don't think that you're going to get the same result as they did. That was a mistake that I made in 2023. I was joining all of these different dialogues and courses and all this stuff, and they're feeding me all this stuff, and then at the end they want me to buy their ebook and buy this and buy that. And meanwhile, I'm doing everything they told me to do, to the best of my ability, of course, and I'm not seeing the results. And I found myself getting frustrated, and it was 2-layered, because one, when you're putting your hand to the plow and you're working and you're not seeing any results, it's very challenging to keep going. But Another caveat to that is that if you are a Christian entrepreneur, your journey is going to be much different. Things are going to look different for us because we don't move, and we shouldn't move the way the world moves. And I am learning that God's way sometimes is very unconventional. It's not the quickest, it's not the easiest, but you have to keep going. Some of the other like titles and things that I have seen that people kind of minimize is, if you just be consistent, you'll blow up, especially on a platform like YouTube. Now, when I'm talking about my content creation journey, I am specifically talking about YouTube. I do have a TikTok where I post more organic, just things that come to my mind, and I'm like, oh, I feel led to post this, I'm gonna post it. But when I'm on YouTube, I am actually doing my research, figuring out what it is that I want to create for my audience, looking for, thumbnails and all these different things. And then, of course, waiting for you guys to come and engage with me so that as you put the comments below, I'm like, okay, you guys want to see more of this or more of that. So I'll be sure to talk about those things. Consistency is great. Consistency is key, but there are other factors that you have to think about as you are building a brand online that may not be at the forefront of most people's minds, such as marketing, such as strategy, such as networking, and even just luck. There are some people that put a random video out and for whatever reason they go viral. Keep in mind that there is strategy in a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that the camera and the thumbnails and the different things like that don't always show. When you are being consistent and you're not seeing that growth, don't give up. But remember, are you doing the strategy? Meaning you have to learn the platform that you're on. If you want YouTube to become something, you have to learn how to get in the algorithm. You have to learn how to do the thumbnails. You have to learn, tags and different things like that. And you have to incorporate those things in the beginning. And once you get the brand, once you get the following, once you get the community that you're looking for, some of those things just kind of become easier and automated because now you have an audience they just want to hear you. They're ready and they're willing to hear you and whatever the message is that you have to say. But when you are first gen, this is your first time doing everything, a lot of people give up. I was almost there, I'm like, oh my gosh, who would have thought creating a thumbnail would be so challenging? And you have to invest in, different products and things that sometimes we aren't necessarily told. And so we see these really polished podcasts such as Diary of a CEO, for example. They're one of the bigger podcasters, Joe Rogan, different groups like that online. Shout out to them because they have done wonderful things. But we expect those type of results in 6 to 7 months when really we're dealing with different ingredients as entrepreneurs. And so some CEOs, some leaders, some entrepreneurs may have more resources at their disposal, but if you don't, you have to learn how to be resourceful as well as being consistent. Another thing that I hear people say is all you need is hard work, which kind of ties back into the consistency piece. That is very important, but you also again have to have mentorship, you have to have a network, you have to have practical resources and different things like that to help you out along the way. I was listening to a podcast this morning as I was working out, and I heard the guy say that there is no such thing as a self-made millionaire, billionaire, entrepreneur, whatever. And I was like, you know what, that is actually true. I believe personally it can be rooted in pride when you think you are self-made. But we at some point along the way have had someone give us a chance or take a chance on us, or promote our business, or even the people that are supporting you in your comments and they're liking, sharing, and subscribing. They don't have to do that. They can go watch millions of other channels if they want to. And so when you are thinking about hard work, don't be so prideful to think, oh, I got to do it a certain way. You're going to fail more than you succeed, especially in the beginning. And you have to find your audience. You have to figure out what they like. You have to speak their language. You have to package your message in a certain way. And something that I'm also learning when it comes to selling certain things, or you're trying to promote certain things, especially as a Christian, it can be kind of challenging and difficult being in such a secular space. I've also seen people talk about you can start, a brand or a business and go from $0 to $1 million. Well, yes, you can. I'm a big believer that you can do anything that your heart desires. But realistically, every business you have had to put some capital into. That's just how it goes. From Facebook to Amazon to Twitter to all of these, or X, all of these big companies, all the way down to your local businesses. At some point, you have to, unless you come from a lineage of millionaires and billionaires, and even then they still leverage capital to engage in whatever business venture they are going into. So when you are thinking about even content creation, you have to invest in a camera. Most people use their phones, so you can use your cell phone, but that's still an investment. You're still paying the bill on it. You have to have a microphone. You have to get the lighting. You have to, set up your recording area in a certain way, whatever vibe you're trying to go for. Those are things that you have to invest in. Then you have the subscriptions on the back end, where you want to work with, different platforms to repurpose your content on different social media platforms and things like that. Those are things that are doable, that are possible, that are affordable, but you do have to put money in. So it's not necessarily you starting with $0. And the caveat to that, some people have family and friends and people in high places that are willing to invest in their venture. Then there are some of us that don't. And so for me, just being transparent with you guys, everything that I have done to build OCO thus far has come directly from my money. And I'm okay with that because I believe in my podcast. I believe in the vision that I see to build a community for first gen women around the world that need community, that come from low income, some traumatic backgrounds, but don't have this naive perspective of, oh, I'm just gonna get up and post and record, and then you're disappointed because it didn't turn out the way you thought that it was going to turn out. Aside from not necessarily having the money, not having a network, not having strategy, not having just the support that you need, that's an area that can be very triggering for a lot of people. When you have a vision and you have something that you want to go after, but you have kids, you have a wife that's looking to you to pay the bills, or you have a husband that needs you at home, or you have other personal responsibilities in place, and your family and your friends aren't necessarily supportive. It's a mental fortitude that you have to have. And again, as a believer, you have to remember the vision that God gave you. And so if he told you he wanted you to go into accounting, or he wanted you to go into consulting, or he wanted you to engage in AI and technology, you have to keep pushing and birth that vision out, because delayed is not denied. I'm not a believer in delay, period. But we go through seasons where we have to wait, and we have to endure, and we have to steward the little bit that God has given to us, so that he can increase us when we are ready to be promoted. And so when you are dealing with not having the proper support, you have to learn how to be, I call a jack of all trades. You're doing a lot of DIYing, you're your own marketer, you are doing social media management, you are recording, so your voice is what people see, your brand is what people see. You're dealing with editing, so you're a video editor. Like, aside from the mental fortitude that you have to find within yourself, you also have to balance holding these different titles, because you're at the beginning of it all. And you're the one that's responsible for everything. That's why I'll always respect people that are willing to just get up and post, and they don't care what the video looks like, and the content is valuable, because anybody can get a fancy camera, anybody can get fancy lighting, Is this setup my ideal setup for my podcast? Absolutely not. Like, I am aesthetic to aesthetic can be, but this is what I have right now. And I think that that vulnerability and the transparency and the excellency that I'm putting forward will speak louder for me. And then all of the bells and whistles will come later. But these are just things to keep in mind as you are engaging with your entrepreneurship, content creating journey. Some of the biggest emotional barriers that I've personally had to deal with is being rejected. I know a lot of new founding content creators and business owners go through this, but people just don't take you serious. To some people, you're a nobody. And of course, people always come on the back end when you now have that newfound success that you always knew you were going to have. And so, as you are building your brand, building your podcast, or whatever it is you're building, keep in mind that you're going to get a lot of no's before you get that final yes. Every time I record a video, this is just me, I always encourage myself and say, this could be the video that goes viral. This could be the video that puts your podcast on the map. This could be the video that gets in front of the right individual or the right audience, and it opens doors up for you that you never thought that you would have. And if you want to learn more about the mechanics of YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, whatever platform you want to focus on, you go and learn those things. But I'm talking about brand deals and, being a guest speaker at different events and getting in those rooms. The hardest thing is to get in those rooms. Once you're in the room, or you're on the call, or you're meeting the person, or you're around the right people, everything is just kind of like a snowball effect. But what happens when you're not getting that? You still have to be okay and have the mental resolve in yourself to say, okay, well, I got 4 no's this week. But I believe that as I keep pushing, as I keep going, as I keep learning, I am going to get that breakthrough that I'm looking for. And while you're waiting on your breakthrough, stay at your job. Don't do anything just kind of sporadically where you are like, oh, I'm going to go in on YouTube, and you thinking you're going to go viral overnight or whatever the case may be, and you don't know how you're going to pay your bills. Like, be responsible as you are on your entrepreneurship journey. Be prepared to hear no, or people not taking you serious, or I've had, for example, I've networked with a few people, and when someone is like, they're just trying to be nice, but they're not really trying to help you. I've had that happen to me a few times where I'm sharing my vision, I'm sharing what I want to do, what I see, and I will say some of the work that I'm doing is very innovative, meaning no one's really done it before in my industry, in my field. And it's like, oh yeah, this is very promising, this is very nice, but I've yet to run into that person that's willing to take a shot on me. That may happen for you if you don't have the capital or the human capital to support your vision. So these are just things that I want you guys to keep in mind. I am a big believer in being authentic and vulnerable to a certain degree on camera with you guys. And you talking about, again, this has been overall a 5-year journey, and you can see my subscriber count. You can see that I don't get comments and stuff like that. I do get a few views in that, but my philosophy is that I would rather make impact and go viral. And so that leads me into the next point. When you are thinking about what type of brand you are wanting to build, why are you wanting to build this? I think a lot of people immediately go to money. I want to make more money. I want to have more time with my family. I want to be able to take care of debt. Whatever it is that you have, not that those are bad things, but what is going to be that why that keeps you going when you have days where nothing is working out, life is upside down, you've put all this money into this thing, but you're not seeing any return on your investment. Sometimes the money ain't gonna always be that driving factor. You have to have something a little more concrete to remind you why you are doing this. And I believe that why should always be rooted in impact. What kind of impact and legacy do you want to leave in whatever industry you are in. What kind of expert do you want to be when it comes to solving other people's issues and things like that? And how can we strategize long term to ensure that you get that success that you are looking for? And a lot of us, I was guilty. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started, I was like, I'm feeling this. I just want to get up and post. And that's cool. I have always been a very daring person. And so I'm just willing to try. And it's like, if it don't work out, then hey, I have no regrets about it. But you have to have strategy, in any business, in any brand, in anything online. You have to have strategy. When you come from a low income background, people don't like to talk about the kind of dark realities of networking or job searching or building a business or whatever it may be, because you have to really be strategic in who you reach out to. You have to engage again with being rejected a lot, and then you may not even know where to start. And so we don't want to make underlying assumptions. Now you can try, and I'm a big believer we are not victims. We do the best that we can to find the right people, find mentorship. And the good thing about social media is that there is so much information at your disposal, but learning how to distill that information is very important. Learning who to receive what from and being discerning is even more important. But all of us don't have the same starting point. Some of the most greatest people have had family, friends, people around them, that helped them out along the way, and some didn't. I don't know what your story is. You may not have anything, but I hope that this podcast episode today gave you a realistic reality of what building a brand can look like. And I will continue to share my successes as they come so that I can be a living testimony, a living proof, if you will, of like literally starting from nothing. Starting from zero and really just kind of finding my way and doing it on my own, so to speak. Keep your why at the forefront of it all, meaning when there are days where you have no luck, no success, you didn't get the views that you thought, you were trying to engage with some lead calls and you didn't get anything, just remember the vision that you have, the vision that God has given to you, and know that over time it is going to unfold. We live in a society where it is easier and quicker to get rich. But there is still this kind of notion of this, I call it a microwaved success, where it's like I just hit 30 seconds and boom, I'm where I want to be. And it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Again, I'm already 5 years into this thing on a personal side. You guys have just seen me now, but I've been in this and dealing with a lot of personal stuff to try to build this thing. It is difficult. And so don't let people bamboozle you and fool you and think that this stuff can happen overnight, because one, you don't know what resources they had at their disposal. Two, you don't know how long they've been working at certain things. And three, their path to success is not the same as yours. You can learn from whoever, but you have to be careful about ingesting this kind of get rich quick, philosophy, because you'll find yourself compromising who you are. And that's what I want to close this episode out with. Do not compromise your core values, your morality code is what I call it, for some money, for some views, for some likes. If I'm being honest, if this don't turn out the way I want it to, which I believe it will, and I know it will, just hypothetically, if it don't, I can always go get a job. I can always go back to what I was doing, and I'm okay. And no matter who comes across it or doesn't, I'm still me at the end of the day. And that's what everyone who aspires to be a leader, because entrepreneurship is really leadership. It's not the money and the bells and whistles that come from leading. The Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. So when you put yourself out there in whatever area or industry you're in, You are representing that space. And if you're a Christian, you're representing Christ. And you have to make sure that you have the character, you have the moral compass and the code within yourself, so that when the money comes, when the views come, when the notoriety comes, and even the opportunities, you are willing and able to walk away from stuff that's like, nah, I can't do this. This brand deal is, I know I could make 6 figures off of it, but I don't believe in what that company stands for. Those are real things that you need to start preparing yourself for now. We've heard stories about people winning the lottery and they lose the money literally overnight, or within a short time span. Don't let that be you. Businesses fail every day. Every day. Statistically, it is what it is. Businesses fail every day. Don't go into this naive. Don't go into this with unrealistic expectations. Be resourceful as possible. But most importantly, I'm going to say, one, let God lead you. But two, know who you are. Because you are literally a little fish in a big ocean. I am too. YouTube, I literally look at it as an ocean. You have billions of people that are on this platform. TikTok, same amount, millions, if not billions of people, and so on and so forth. And there is a piece of the pie for you. But again, you have to just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming until you get to where you need to be. I hope and pray that this video is helpful to those that are considering YouTubing, building a brand from YouTube, engaging in a business, and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I feel like I am trying to listen to all these gurus online, but it's just not working for me. This is the real reality of trying to build a brand or a business online. And it's a beautiful process. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful process. But if you are first gen, meaning the first business owner in your family or the first to engage in content creation, and there's a certain message that you're wanting to push, there are certain things that you're wanting to do and you're trying to do it God's way, expect for the road to be a little different. Expect for the journey to look a little different, but know that when the time is right, you're going to see the success that you're looking for. I thank you guys for stopping by. Again, my name is Jaylee. Thanks for tuning in to my podcast, Saturdays with the Girls, where we are here to encourage, uplift, and inspire first generation women all around the world, college graduates, college students, professionals, Christians, and even those that come from low income backgrounds, sometimes traumatic, that are wanting to make a change in their corner of the world. And until next time, try to make the world a better place today.